And joining us now is NBC News chief political analyst Chuck Todd. I can't think of anyone better to talk to at this moment because you and I both know of all of the ups and downs in any negotiation on the Middle East. But let's start there right now. They may have been rushing this out, and there's always the possibility that Netanyahu and the right-wing cabinet members are going to press him to try to play this down. We know that there was another Friday announcement by the president that was immediately disavowed by Netanyahu over the weekend. But they were getting close, and we did hear, I was on that briefing and spoke to one of the briefers afterwards, that, and on July 4th, that it was a significant breakthrough that Hamas had agreed to the earliest stage and was no longer demanding preemptively, full ceasefire before anything else can be done.
Look, this is a prerequisite for Biden or any Democratic ticket at this point, whether it's Biden or Harris, to have this not be a hot war in the fall. If this is a hot war when younger folks are back on college campuses and there's daily, exchanges of gunfire and then some, I think this is a nightmare for the incumbent president or the incumbent administration, whoever's at the top of the ticket. So, look, I mean, this is sort of and frankly, I think it's necessary to blunt the political interference that the Israeli prime minister is participating in by coming to speak to a divided Congress. I mean, I don't understand why he's doing that. It's not in the best interest of Israel overall. It's only in the best interest of his own politics and perhaps what he wants to see happen in this country's politics. So I would call it a necessary development for this administration, Andrea.
No, absolutely. And the other thing is that you can expect a very strong push against Iran at the very moment when there is at least the chance of a less radical leader just elected in Iran and the possibility of getting them to back off of supporting all of their proxies that have been waging war around the whole region. Again, I'll say we'll put a pin on that. We're going to do a lot more reporting throughout this hour. Chuck, I do want to play another portion of the president just last night. Let's listen to this.
You earlier explained confidence in your vice president.
Yes.
If your team came back and showed you data that she would fare better against former President Donald Trump, would you reconsider your decision to stay in the race?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that.
Well, here's what we're going to ask you for a reality check on the polling. People are saying that.
Well, I mean, here's the problem, right? In theory, it's a winnable race for Biden. But the question is, can he do the things he needs to do to win? And when you look at even recent historical context, nobody with this low of a job approval rating as an incumbent president has ever won. Period. Right? It's just a fact in the modern era of polling. And so that's why all of these very well qualified and very experienced strategists look at what appears to be a close race and says, yeah, but when you look under the hood, you realize one candidate is a lot stronger than the other candidate. And that's the issue. And another thing on Harris, and I've talked to with some Democrats, while she polls very similarly to Biden, what's interesting is that it's potentially a different electorate. And so when I've talked to some down ballot strategists, they've made the argument to me that while maybe she is not does not do as well with swing voters as you would want a Democratic nominee to be, but if she gets younger voters and African American voters a little more enthusiastic about showing up, that even if she loses to Trump, she gives Democrats a better shot with an electorate that would allow them to win the House in New York and allow them. The big fear with Biden at the top of the ticket is that it's particularly why the House Democrats, I think, are the most panicked right now at their situation, is that you'll have a bunch of demoralized Democrats in blue states who say, well, I don't have to go. I don't like it. And then all of a sudden, those swing districts in New York and California, which are the key to Democrats winning the House, they come up about 2 or 3 points short, and it's really a turnout problem, and it's a base problem. So that's why House Democrats are almost like on edge. Frankly, Senate Democrats already knew they're probably losing control of the Senate. Just the map is what it is. But there's a reason it's the House Democrats that are more vocal right now than even the Senate Democrats, because they see control of the House slipping away.
And frankly, that was their last hope, because with the math, the Senate was very likely to be lost to them.
Correct.
And with the Supreme Court, what it is, they view that as Trump world Supreme Court. And so the only branch of government, if Donald Trump were to win, would be the House. That would be the final, bar against.
Andrea, really quick, if they're going to make a move against Biden, though, they got to do it this weekend. They can't keep dragging this out. They can't keep waiting for another moment, another excuse.
To that point, Hakeem Jeffries went last night. Now, I had been told on the QT that he might go last night, might go this morning. For them to have him go to the White House and see the president, he didn't finish that news conference till 8:29 last night. Jim Himes came out at, a minute later, 8:27, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So he couldn't have gone. Maybe he was waiting in the West Wing for the motorcade get back. I'm timing the motorcade from the convention center minutes.
Right.
So they were meeting around 9 o'clock last night. That is very unusual, and that was from what I understand it was supposed to be a reality check. And talking to
I think
Ryan
it's also a
Knowles,
heads up.
It was probably that a majority of the members really don't want you on this ticket.
Right. I have a feeling it was as much a heads up as it was a reality check. Like, look, the dam may break this weekend. I'm preparing you.
And what about Jim Clyburn today? What was your read of that extraordinary moment on the Today Show?
Yeah. It's the same thing as what former Speaker Nancy Pelosi did on Morning Joe a couple of days ago. It's basically signaling, look, I'm not going to dump on my friend Joe Biden, but I am living in reality. And this is Clyburn, he's a political pragmatist. That's how Biden got the nomination in the first place and got his endorsement the first time. That was a pragmatic move. Nancy Pelosi, she's a political pragmatist. She plays hardball, but she's a pragmatist. And that's what's happening here. They look at this top of the ticket and they realize the House is unwinnable under these circumstances, period. And that's why this is coming to a head perhaps this weekend.
Chuck Todd, your experience is invaluable at a moment like this. As always, on All Things. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.